Today, we're going to dive into the incredible story of how one man's personal crisis, a journey of intense scholarship, a high-stakes debate, and then finally exile, actually led to the rebirth of a community in one of the world's most historic cities. So picture this. Right in the heart of the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem's Old City, there's this synagogue. It's been a living, breathing center of a community for more than 750 years. I mean, that's not just a building, right? That is a direct link to the past, a piece of history that is still alive today. But here's the thing. This synagogue's foundations aren't just made of stone and mortar. They're built on a dramatic story of crisis, of conviction. It's the story of one man who, facing exile at the very end of his life, took on a mission that would echo for centuries. So, who was he? To answer that, our story doesn't begin in the ruins of Jerusalem. No, we have to go back in time, to the vibrant world of medieval Spain, where this man was already a legend, known as the Sage of Catalonia. His name was Moshe ben Nahman. You'll also see him called by his Hebrew acronym, Ramban or Nahmánides. Born way back in 1194, he wasn't just some scholar. He was one of the most respected intellectual giants of his era, a true luminary. I mean, just think about this guy's resume for a second. He was the chief rabbi of Catalonia, a top physician, a deep philosopher, and a master of Jewish mysticism, or Kabbalah. Oh, and on top of all that, he wrote this massive commentary on the Bible that people still study intensely today. This guy was at the absolute top of his game. But, as it often happens, it was his very brilliance that led to the one event that would change his life forever. A moment of high-stakes public drama that sent him on a path he never expected. This was the famous Disputation of Barcelona in 1263. King Jaime I ordered Nahmánides to publicly debate the core ideas of Judaism. His opponent? A man named Pablo Cristiani, a Jewish convert to Christianity who was now set on challenging his old faith. You can just imagine the tension. The stakes here were unbelievably high.
And here is the unbelievable twist. Nahmánides argued so powerfully, so brilliantly, that the king himself declared him the winner of the debate. But that victory came with a huge price tag. The powerful church leaders were furious with the outcome, and they started a campaign of persecution against him. So he won the argument, but in the end, he lost his home.
From there, his entire world just unraveled, and fast. The disputation in 1263 kicked off the persecution. Just 4 years later, at 70 years old, an age when most people are thinking about retirement, he was forced into exile and arrived in the Holy Land. He would only live for 3 more years. And this brings us to the final and, maybe the most profound chapter of his entire life. Because what he found when he finally reached Jerusalem wasn't some peaceful sanctuary. It was a scene of absolute devastation. Over the centuries, Jerusalem had been just ravaged by the Crusades and other wars. The city was a ghost of its former self, and its ancient Jewish community, it had been practically wiped out. For Nahmánides, coming from a thriving community in Spain, this must have been absolutely heartbreaking. How wiped out was the community? Well, when Nahmánides arrived, he found a grand total of 2. Just 2 Jewish men living in the entire city. They were brothers and they worked as dyers. That was it. That was the whole community. You can hear his mindset in a letter he wrote to his son back in Spain. He wrote, "We found a ruined house, we restored it, and now it has a Jewish community." He saw the ruin, but he immediately saw the potential. He didn't just write about the despair. He started building hope right in the middle of it. So, faced with almost nothing, he didn't give up. He made a plan. It was so simple, direct, and powerful. First, find a usable spot, which was a ruined house in the rubble. Second, fix it up and turn it back into a sacred space, a synagogue. And third, use that place as a magnet to start rebuilding a community, drawing people in to pray and to start over. And that simple 3-step plan, put into action by a 70-year-old exile, didn't just build a little prayer hall. It created a legacy that would last for more than 7 centuries, a legacy in both stone and in spirit. The impact was immediate and dramatic. I mean, look at this. Before he arrived, the community was basically at zero. After he established that synagogue, it became the seed of a revival. He single-handedly turned back decades of decline and planted something that would just continue to grow. So, really, he left behind a dual legacy. On one hand, you have his intellectual legacy, all his incredible writings that are still studied. But on the other hand, you have his physical legacy, literally written in stone, the synagogue and the continuous Jewish presence that, frankly, might not have existed without him. Which brings us right back to where we started. That synagogue standing today, the very heart of a bustling, thriving Jewish quarter, it's the direct descendant of that ruined house he found. It is the living, breathing result of his final act. It really leaves you with a final, pretty powerful thought. Nahmánides was a great scholar, a leader, and in the end, an exile. Yet when he was faced with total ruin, his conviction didn't just help him survive, it pushed him to rebuild. It really makes you wonder, how does one person's conviction, the refusal to give in to despair, manage to echo for over 750 years?